Hey guys, it's AJ with Hippie Fertilizing. What do y'all think of Lenny? Let me know. Anyway, I just planted a peach tree in my backyard. I am gonna walk y'all through this hot mess going on back here, okay? But now that we have the peach tree planted, I'm sorry, I know I probably should have did a little video with that. But to tell you a little backstory on it is someone sent an article recently that said instead of putting your trees in a circular hole, put them in a square hole because then it forces the roots to grow out. Kind of makes sense based on what I read on the article. So tried it out. We'll see. I have my own compost pile in the backyard, so I put a little bit of that compost in the bottom. Also, what I did was dug it down like real deep in the center. It's down here in Houston, Texas. We got clay all freaking day. Okay. But what I'm doing now, and I happen, of course, it's Hippie Fertilizing. I got this stuff laying around in my garage. I'm not going to use any extra humic acid. I'm just going to rinse all this stuff in the bucket. But what I am going to do is I'm going to use some Maximum Blooms. Put a little bit of this in there. Ooh, don't smell that. Let's see. Probably just used about 6 ounces of that stuff. Got some good old food grade molasses. Love this stuff. So good. Now we're just gonna hook that up. That don't really matter. As long as it's nice and watered, it's all good with the molasses part. Well, like I said, I'm just gonna use what's already in the bucket and rinse it in there. The humic acid section of it. And see what we can do about getting this thing to really thrive. So, y'all are about to see a hot mess in my backyard. I'm gonna let you know I'm more of a soil guy, not a gardening guy. There's a huge difference. Don't mistake the two. Sometimes you can be both. I'm not. But we are doing a little bit of gardening, a little spring cleaning. Luckily here in Leak City, it's all warm already. We're fairly warm. I swear it feels like it's like 77 degrees today, February 16th. So, humic acid, I love it because you can use a lot, you can use a little bit. Either way, you're doing a lot for your soil. And in this case, I just don't really feel it necessary to do a whole bunch. Water's cold. Since it's cold, I'm gonna definitely give it a stir for that molasses. Otherwise, it will not mix up very good. It stays pretty thick, but I can feel it already. Let's see. See? You can probably see a little bit stuck on my hands. Like right there. Oh, man. Except now I had Maximum Bloom on that. That's disgusting. Oh yeah. Ooh. Like a whole nother kind of hippie juice. It just doesn't seem to matter what happens. And I'm gonna try take my own advice maybe and just put a layer of mulch down in this area, because I walk here all the time. This little area gets tons of traffic. My grass won't grow here. But I'm bound and determined to make that change. So we're gonna take this. And again, so whoever lived here first did some I guess makeshift irrigation. We ripped some of that out, so it's a little bit messier than it is normally. And this is all going to get cleaned up, but I have these little roses on the side that they don't bloom all the time, but when they do, they're the most vivid crimson red beautiful roses ever. So sometimes, like I said, I'm not the super gardening guy, but we are moving some impatience from the front of the house to the back, and then later on, I like to use flagstone because you can just take it and power wash it and put it back, boom, it looks brand new. So before I get done with making a hot mess in my yard today, I'm gonna power wash some of my flagstone. We're just gonna soak this puppy down. And then after some of that saturates later too, I'm gonna water it in extra, just to, get it further penetrated. Also dilute the mixture. When you plant anything, bushes, flowers, trees, whatever, you want to water real good when you're done. Unless you happen to be like me, and sometimes I'll do my gardening when it's wet outside, because then I'm not working. So then I don't water stuff in, it doesn't need it. And I'll tell you what, around here, it rains all the freaking time. So as long as you're doing your gardening and it's not like August, you might be able to get away with that immediate watering situation. Ooh, and look at this stuff here. This is like the beginning of my pollinator experiment. No, I'm not a flower expert either. I believe it's a salvia. It's really beautiful stuff. I know later on in spring and all through summer we finally started having bumblebees and more butterflies and stuff. So part of the goal, and you can't tell because a lot of it was just ripped out today, but I had different pollinator plants, and they really were rocking last year. And this thing hasn't stopped all season long, all winter, all summer. It kind of drooped a little bit, but I planted it. I'm definitely like the epitome of the lazy gardener. If I can't set it and forget it, it don't need to be in my yard. The only exception that I like to take a little tiny bit more care of is my roses, which I ripped some of those out of my front yard too, and kind of redoing the bed. But that's a whole nother little project. Ooh yeah. And the good thing is with everything I mixed up, if Bear wants to drink it, he can. Ain't gonna hurt him. Probably actually be good for him. Lots of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, all that good stuff. So, and also what I did, like after I planted this tree, is see this little stuff here? That wasn't even doing anything. Is I popped a couple of them off already. They really tend to act like a tourniquet quick on these trees, and I'm gonna leave this one here just for a short time, probably about 2 months, unless it just really irritates me because I hate these little green things. But they don't need to be on very long. People leave that stuff on there, and I notice every time with all kinds of trees, you take this little junk off, and that tree is like, oh, I can breathe. Not being choked out. I also just mixed all kinds of soil stuff together. I used what was already in the pot, used a bunch of the clay that we dug out. Over in this section, I had some plants that I wasn't really happy with, so I ripped them out, but before I planted them, we had a whole bunch of quality soil and compost under here. So I just dug this stuff out and started using it for this hole. Figured, hey, it's kind of like soil recycling, right? use what you got when you got it, because it's Sunday and every place that I like to go is closed. I'm just gonna add a little more to the mix while it's nice and wet. Oh. Yeah, I got plenty of earthworms. Woo! Look, Hippie Juice saturation. Good stuff. So, if you're planting plants, you know, I don't necessarily recommend making it as strong as I like to make it, because you can always add more later, but you cannot take away, okay? And even though it's all natural stuff, I only had it one time with a product that Microlife stopped making because of this specific issue, but I did kill some stuff using organics. And also, if you're doing potted plants, follow the directions or use a whole lot less. But when it's going all over your lawn and your landscape, you can make your stuff pretty thick with humic acid, seaweed, and molasses. So anyway, hope that was informative. Just doing some spring cleaning around here. I know it's a hot mess, but we're gonna shape this up, because if y'all are gonna see this on YouTube, guys, y'all are gonna see what's next. It's gonna be a little while, but I promise you, we're gonna have a lot more pretty stuff going on. So check us out, and have a groovy day. Peace.